Welcome to another Lombardi Live Spotlight series where we feature funny, entertaining, and enlightening stories. I've always said some of the best lessons you can ever learn can come from just hanging out with the best drummers in the world, and this show is no exception. You'll be getting 250 years of experience from a DC roundtable with Terry Bozzio, Alex Acuña, Brandon Buckley, Curt Bisquera, and Thomas Lang. You'll learn one of the most important things about being a drummer and what drove them to follow their passion. You'll also find out who Buddy Rich kicked out of his car in the middle of the desert and what drummer is stocking up on tennis shoes. Let's start by having some fun. Join me right now. Check it out.
Hey, it's Curt Bisquera, Curt B on DC. And I have the one and only Godfather, the one and only Mr. Gerald Heyward. Gerald, how are you, bro? I miss you, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good, man.
From what I understand, to make yourself happy and feel part of something, and someone told me, man, you got a nice biscuit collection. Is this true?
Yeah. I have always been a sneaker dude, and it has started to be the swagger of drummers.
Yeah. And who's leading the pack? It's you, right? Your Godfather, so you got to have the most.
I can just say I'm all right. I'm about like 6 and some change. As far as my inventory is concerned.
Okay, wait a minute. So, wait. Is it possible that we could see this collection of biscuits?
Yeah, my closet's a little messy, but I can show you a couple of pieces. See if I can go up to
the room. You got any 85 Jordans? Whoa. Okay, this is nice. A couple of Jordans over here. Oh,
this is some Air Force Ones, I want to say, over here. This is a couple of things over here. And I don't know if you remember Bapes.
Man, I'm going to be honest, Bapes? Man. I never got into the kick collection.
So Bapes is something that Bapes is from Japan, and it's a brand that they made because they couldn't get Air Force Ones at a certain time. And this guy made up Bapes, and they look just like Air Force Ones. Let me open up.
So it's like fake Gucci?
Nah, it's not fake, but it's his own thing. So let's see. So,
oh wow! All right.
Yeah, you know Pharrell.
Yes, sir.
Pharrell is connected to this guy Bapes. Bathing Ape is what it's called, and they have clothing line. They have all this stuff, and I was a big fan, and I was buying a lot of Bapes. I was ODing on the Bapes. So
did you ever have it work? Did you ever have it worked out in your contract where, okay, it's like, all right, here's what I make a week, but then every 14th show, you got to kick in a pair of Bapes?
No. So this is what I did have, though. I took all the per diem, and that's what I was buying sneakers with. Per diem, bro. Per diem. I never ate with per diem. I always brought sneakers with that money.
Of course, bro, because you can just eat at catering for free. I know the drill.
Man, so that's a life in itself. You know what I'm saying? That's a life in itself. But yeah, so I collect sneakers, and that is a thing for me. And it's always been a thing for me. And a lot of people like, Eric Moore. And
oh yeah, I know Eric's deep in it, man.
Yeah, a lot of other drummers. Man, other drummers do it,
Here at Drum Channel, we might have to just get all you drummers that have the collection and have a collection shootout. And we count Who's got the most, and then whoever has the most wins.
So if I would have started collecting when I started buying sneakers, I would have like thousands of sneakers.
Right.
But I didn't know collecting was going to be a thing. So I used to give 150 pair away every year for free. Like I used to take them to, some of the places around here, some of the churches, and literally every year, 150 pair away. So if I would have kept those sneakers off, I wasn't doing that, I would be way in the thousands.
Wow.
Right now. But
where are you at about now, give or take? How many?
I'm at like 640, 6. I have some stuff in the storage too. So, because everything can't fit in the closet.
Gerald Heyward is an icon. He's called the Godfather by so many great drummers. The 1-hour interview gets you into some really serious topics. It's on demand now on drumchannel.com. Next is part of an informal roundtable with friends sitting and hanging out in the DC control room. Enjoy. It's interesting to have you in this roundtable group because you've each mastered the instrument, yet you each have your own voice. You're known, to be able to do everything, but you're specifically known by every drummer in the world to excel at what you do. Your reputation, Brandon, your career, all the different types of genres of music that you play. I can't think of any other drummer where if you heard him play straight ahead bebop jazz, you wouldn't know that was Alex Acuña until it is. And if you hear him play Latin, you wouldn't know it's Alex Acuña. He can do a little bit of everything. And of course, Terry is on another level here. We're trying to still get there.
Listen to Alex's latest CD. What is it? Drumming for the New Millennium?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Forget it. Yeah. I mean, him and a piano player. And you just go, okay, I quit. I never should have started this. Then him with a Peruvian guitarist playing a Peruvian cajon.
Yeah, beautiful.
You can't write what he plays, man.
Right.
You have to hear it and feel it and maybe be born with it. I don't know.
That's the dialect we were talking about.
These are my goals, is to try and find where is that crack in the time that he's playing.
Right.
And I mean, it's
love.
It's love. It is love, but it's also
hearing
perfect.
The love.
It's perfect love.
Yeah, that's it.
He plays with a click, and it doesn't sound like it's with a click. It's such a beautiful thing. Donna and I saw him play with that trio you were with. Matheson and
that's right.
God, he was playing a ballad, and there were some chords, and he'd hit the one, and he'd pull the backbeat so far because nobody else was playing until the next chord,
right.
and he just made everybody go, oh! It was just unbelievable what he did.
Lion tamer.
I envy so much. I mean, I know envy's a sin. I don't care. This is, to me, what? Right. Then I can rationalize it by saying, I resonate with what he's doing so much, that this becomes the most important thing to me, is how to find that beauty,
But I can see here, or I can feel here with all of you, amazing, I will describe this the way I think all of us have described it sometime, or maybe still describing it, and this is what I tell to some young students that they come and they want to learn some of what I play, And I said, okay, you have a dream, you love playing, you have a gift, you love playing, you have a vision, great, so a dream, you have a gift and a vision, and you have a desire. See, right there, you can write 4 books right there. One with each title, but so the main thing about it is you have to believe that it's going to happen. Because it's here.
Yeah.
It has to be here. The reason you guys are who you are, all of you, is because you saw it and you felt it and you believe it and you went with it with discipline, with perseverance, with love, definitely. and getting up early and making the 24 hours, making it 48 hours. You have to enlarge the day and accomplish it and really
faith,
go
right?
that way.
It's really a faith.
That's
that
what it is.
To follow that idea. And there's a quote that says, faith without works is
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So, you know.
Yeah, it will definitely happen.
It really boils down to what we can change and we can't change, you know, like in that serenity prayer, you know. If I have something I think I can do, I do it. I have the courage to change something. I don't like this. I made that mistake. I'm not going to make that mistake again.
There you go.
And the other thing is, well, okay, this is like whatever, politics and stuff might be a good show, but there's nothing I can do to change, you know, nothing I can do. I'm a drummer. I'm not, going to go on demonstrations and marches, and I need the time to dedicate to my music and to following these.
I have a 5-year-old son now, and of course, if you're a bit obsessive, you start to think about like every way that I need to help him be a good young citizen. I stop thinking about myself. I start thinking about being a good dad and all that kind of stuff. Yes. And one of the things I read often is, his success will lie in helping him find a passion that he wants to do for the rest of his life. And then I turn that back on myself. I'm like, oh, I got one of those. I found drums when I was 13 or something, and I've been doing it for the rest of my life. So I must be sort of successful then. Whatever's in my checking account at any given time is a different story. Yeah. But at least I have that a lot of people don't have that. And if you can find something, or 7 things like he's got going, but like a lot, like at least something that you love to do, and just do it. Sometimes you're going to be great at it. Sometimes you're going to be not so great at it, but just hack at it. I mean, it gives me a reason to jump out of bed every morning, and I'm thankful for that. Yes. So that's something that you could tell younger people is like, you just have to have the love for it, the passion for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a passion in many different areas, I find, you have to really kind of, at first it's like college where they're giving you 27 different courses and it's all in 2 years or something, or 4 years. And, you've got to go through that struggle. But in the end, I find you settle into, okay, right now I'm into practicing, I'm not composing. I don't open my computer. I just want to work out this stuff on the drums. Then there's other times where I don't touch the drums and I'm just deep into composition. Like, you can't stop sometimes, Then there's other times where I just want to draw, And it's like if you can trust God that this is what is supposed to happen and not beat yourself up about the other 7 things that are slipping right now, then that's a key too, So I don't think Thomas spends all his time reading manuals,
No, of course not. Of course not.
There's times where he's going to play and
absolutely.
You just got to take that.
And I try to prioritize what I feel most passionate about.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. Of course, which is playing and practicing,
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, I know you all have families and some kids to pick up amongst us here, so we're a little bit limited on our time today. But I thank you for sharing these stories. I think they've been fantastic. And I wanted to ask kind of one final question. I have a little theory about this, about drummers in general, but we'll kind of quickly go around the horn. It won't be the fires. What do you call yours when you bullet questions at people at the end of one of our shows?
Quick fire?
Quick fire. No, I won't quick fire you.
Stock?
No, I won't stop. No. Was there a moment in your life when you knew you were going to play drums and that was it? And what was the thing that you think might have triggered that?
Well, I remember exactly. I saw a drummer on TV when I was 4 years old. He had a huge drum set. He counted in the band. Everybody looked at him. He was the only one in the band sitting down. Everybody else had to stand. He started the song with a massive drum fill, and he seemed to be in charge. And I was intrigued by that. And a few days later, because drums were on my radar, I was at a local gig, some sort of festival. As a 4-year-old, there was a band playing, and I walked up onto the stage towards the drums, and I held on to the bass drum hoop from the front while the band was playing and the guy was playing, and he was playing loud. And I remember the bass drum was almost my size at age 4, I held on to the hoop, and I felt the pressure, the air, the thumping of the kick drum in my chest. And I looked up at this giant instrument with cymbals moving and shiny chrome with the bass drum just going, and it was loud, and his left foot was stomping here, and I felt the kick. It was just sensory overload.
Wow.
And I remember standing there going, what is going on? This is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening, but I want to stand here and just experience this and hear this. And that was the moment for me. From that moment on, I don't know, I was 4. I mean, I didn't know anything but the fact that I wanted to play the drums. And I bugged my mother right away, and she got me a teacher right away, who was very, very good. I was very lucky with that teacher. And as soon as I had my first drum lessons, I actually sat behind a kit and had a snare drum and felt the power and just the sound of the drum set, and being able to do that, what the guy did, move my, it was like a full limb experience, a full body experience, like dancing and sort of freaking out. It was a way to vent, and to it was adventure and excitement and all in one. And I remember sitting behind the kit the first time. That sealed the deal. I mean, before that I was super interested and intrigued, but as soon as I sat behind a kit for the first time at age 4, almost 5, that was it. I had to play the drums. It wasn't a choice anymore. I was bitten by the drum bug at that gig and forever infected. And that was it.
Brendan, we'll quickly go around.
Yeah,
here.
well, I guess if I thought about a moment in my life, it would probably be more toward the end of my high school time, where when I was 16, I was like a lot of boys where I did a lot of things. I skateboarded and I played all the sports, and my mom's Korean, so I was big on academics. I had to be like all the maths and sciences, and she had great visions of me being some kind of scientist or doctor, but I really loved the drums. And I remember having to have a talk with her when I was about 17, saying, I know you want me to go to college to be a professor or something, but I have a feeling that I'm going to fail, because all I'm going to be doing is sneaking away and playing the drums, when I go to college. I'm going to be looking for bands to be in. I'm going to look for a place to practice, and I'm not going to do my homework, and I'm not going to get A's, because all I'm going to be doing is playing the drums. I feel that already. Could I try to play drums and maybe be successful at that, so I don't fail, And I think, and somehow she said yes. I worded it correctly, and so that was. I thought to myself, man, I just want to do this. I have all these other activities, but I just want to put them all away and only do this for a couple of years, and see where that takes me. And that was like when I was 17, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow.
Fantastic story. Alex, do you have a point? You go way back to when you were very young.
My father
He was in the womb.
My father used to make instruments. I mean, especially congas, timbales. He found somebody who worked on the metals, and then a great carpenter, so he designed. And also, he killed the sheep to make the drum heads. I mean, there were no videos to watch. We didn't even had a radio when I was a little kid. But anyhow, my brothers play many instruments. My father was a great teacher, and my mother didn't want me to be a musician because I'm the last of the 6 brothers. But I became the musician when my father was teaching them. Like my father knew this is a 6 roll and a 9 roll. Okay, you play the bass drum, you play the snare, you play the piaris. And he played a Peruvian rhythm, and one is in 4, you playing in 4, you playing in 6, and like that all together. And I'm listening to all that stuff. I said, wow. But
here, let me do it all by myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the percussion called me, like the percussion was looking at me and said, you, come play me, like that. And the minute I touched the conga, the skin, wow, what a feeling. Then I touched the wood, the cajon, and wow, the sound came out of the... I was a little kid, 3, 4 years old. That was it. See, they became drummers no matter what. I mean, one is holding the drum, the other one is, whoa, this is it, and life change. I think it is an incredible calling, to really, you cannot depart you from this. You sucked in, and because it's so beautiful and it's heavy, it's forever. I think for me, just to top this, the sticks are the extensions of the hands. So, for me, playing this, I use the same mentality when I had the sticks. Definitely I studied later.
Same technique, yeah, really.
But that's what it is. It really changed my life forever, and it's the only thing I have done. It's just play.
Beautiful story.
Yeah.
Kurt.
Yeah, for me, my mother was a musician, and when she was 8 months pregnant with me, she was playing in her organ trio. And she played B3 and kicked pedals.
Wow.
And when she was pregnant with me, I heard that.
Oh, yes.
That Leslie was just feet away from me being in her stomach. When you're talking about in the womb, I literally was in the womb when she was gigging. So whenever I hear a B3 organ, I'm immediately like, true story. I was at NAMM show. I was at NAMM show about 12 years ago. And at NAMM show, as you know, the drum hall's there, and it's very, very loud in the drum hall.
Oh, yeah.
2 halls away is the keyboard hall.
That's right.
And from the drum hall in which I was standing, I heard a B3 organ. Sure enough.
Wow. Fetal position.
I put the thumb in the mouth and I walked toward the organ, the keyboard hall, and I look around and it's Joey DeFrancesco playing.
Ooh.
Wow. And he was just playing a 12-bar blues, and through all that noise, I could hear that B3. And just remembering growing up and my mom still playing, still gigging, and having a B3 in the house with a Leslie and my drum set up. But even before that, when my mom would play piano, I just immediately was able to, I don't know how to this day, I was told you're innately born with it through your parents, but I would tap in rhythm and play in rhythm while my mom played piano or organ. Amazing. And then I somehow, because I have 2 older brothers, they had their record collection or whatever, and they would watch television, the Beatles and all that. So I figured, if I get pots and pans from the kitchen and pull them out and get the spoons, I could be like those guys on TV. And I was 2.5 years old when my mom found me playing on the pots and pans with her spoons. And right there and then I kind of felt like, okay, this for some reason feels right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I've been playing drums. And,
especially those LP pots and pans.
Yeah,
the raw
You're
series.
back to pots and pans again.
Yeah, exactly. Pots and pans again. But, getting to that, how we all came up, it truly is about just, that a feeling, like you're saying, the love of being nurtured music. Mm-hmm. Hanging on to that bass drum. I can imagine little Thomas Lang just,
It was, and I'm sure it's the reason why I'm sort of bottom kit oriented. I like kick drums and the sound of a bass drum and foot technique. Because my first experience was from
the ground up.
The big perspective. The feet were important. What was happening up there, I didn't even see all that.
You hear that forever. Terry, in your experience.
Don, I want to hear your story first.
No, we're running out of time.
Come on, time is
at 9 years old, there was a show that was on. Alex maybe would even remember what the actual show is. On television, that opened up with a closed hi-hat, playing the jazz cymbal rhythm, and then it opened out, and then it was some type of a entertainment show. Anyway, I saw that, and I just thought, I want to go. So the first thing I ever got was a hi-hat, and had a hi-hat for like 4 or 5 months. And then I said to my dad, I think I want to take drum lessons. So finally ended up going to Baxter Northrop and took drum lessons when I was 9. Very much into sports like you, so I went through the Little League thing and still had a drum set up in my room when I was 10, 11, 12. But 14, I got there was a local drum teacher who was playing professionally, and he was helping me out. So that was kind of my entree into really learning. Then when I got my car at 16, I actually started teaching at the store I was studying with when I was 14, because I had an opening. So I loved to teach, and then I studied with Nick Ceroli and with Freddie Gruber for 5 years. So anyways, that was kind of an interesting beginning, and those were different times too. I'm certainly not a studio musician, but there was so much work back there. Cullen Bailey, Nick Ceroli, they'd throw me jingles now and then. So, and you could play clubs and make a good living and have 40 students a week and raise a family and buy a house in Santa Monica.
And build an empire.
There wasn't that happened around me. My little hobby, you mean?
Your hobby.
It got way out of control. Terry, what was your experience?
I'm fascinated how similar humans are, how we're all really inside the same. Everybody's talked about this, the power of the attraction of music, True. And I always try and say, with all the science and crap, music is a metaphor for the universe,
Math.
We're here, and well, not just math, but also frequencies and
vibration,
vibration. So, for me, that was the same thing. My father, when I was very young, played the accordion and could silence a room with family. They'd beg him to play. And you see this power of music, and you just go, I got to do this, I want that. And when you're a little kid, man, you're crying because you want that. And then, it moved into the drums. I saw probably kids play drums, like Mickey Mouse Club had a drummer, and Little Ricky on the I Love Lucy show had kids playing drums. So then I thought, then I can do this too. That was, I never noticed before or conceived that this was something that a child could do. So that's when I started to arm wrestle, because my dad, was a musician, wanted me to be safe as well. Said, get a degree in marine biology, be a teacher, have something to fall back on. And by the time I went through the whole, it was the Beatles finally came on. I said, I have to have drum lessons. So I did drum lessons, just started with sticks and pads, then got a snare and a hi-hat, and used to play brushes with my father on accordion. And then the Beatles came out, and I had to, get a drum kit. Finally got that, and just, it was on from there. And I think...
How old were you when you actually started playing the kit?
I think my first lesson was around 13.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and my dad teased me, he said, I'm trying to get a better deal, next week you'll have it, 'Cause I was in a band, and the deal was among the parents, my schoolmates, that when they get their equipment, I'll buy you the drum set, the rest of the drum set, because I had the snare and the hi-hat. And so, he's trying to get a deal and keep putting it off a week. And he said, and then finally he promised me, by this Friday, you're going to have your drum set, He picks me up from school on a Friday, and he takes me home. Did you get the drum set? I think I can get a better deal from this other guy, right? I walk inside, and it's all set up. Right? So I mean, and that was it, man. It was like, waste yourself. Like when you're a kid and you swim all day, how your lungs burn just breathing? Right. That's how I felt after playing the drums. My hands were bleeding. I played until I couldn't move. Yeah. And we had pizza that night.
Speaking of pizza, that's next on our agenda here. I thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. It was a fantastic roundtable discussion. The complete roundtable is on drumchannel.com. It's a really fun and educational hang to listen in on. And finally, who does not like a good Buddy Rich story? Here it is.
We had a bus that went 50 miles an hour if it moved at all. And he'd take me in his Cadillac. Now, we get this Cadillac. It's just him and me now. And he pulls away 90 miles an hour. He's going with the top down. And we got a little mellow. It's one-on-one now, so he got a little mellow. So we got to talk. And I said, Buddy, the guys in the band think that the band is as good as Woody's, but you're always yelling at them. And he says, really? I said, they left to play. Make them feel good. He says, and like I said, he got mellow. So that night he comes in, he says, come on, guys, let's play. The guy got shocked. All of a sudden, let's play. So, okay, we did that. Now that night, get back in the car, the 90 miles an hour with his Cadillac. And I saw, tell him, the guys love Johnny Mandel. Because, by the way, anything that Johnny had no chops. He didn't have technique. But everything he played sounded like the Shadow of Your Smile. Everything was an Emily, Time for Love. It was a classic solo. But he didn't have technique. So I said, the guys love Johnny Mandel. Why don't you let him play once in a while? Really? Yeah. So he come in, and points to Johnny for the chorus. Johnny didn't know if he should get up or for what he looked. He didn't know who. He'd look around and see who he was pointing to. And I did that for about 4, 5 days now. And I don't want to use the words, but I was telling him what a a-hole he was, okay? I give you that. That's what I was telling him. Now, we're going through the Arizona desert. Now, I'm afraid of an ant, a cockroach. Snakes, I was more afraid of snakes than anything. And we're going through Arizona desert. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black. And we're going on, and I start telling him, the guys in the band love Nick. And he said, wait a minute. He stops, whoop, like the 90 miles an hour, stops the car, steps on the brake. He said, I don't want to hear that crap. Get out of my car. I said, what do you mean, get out of your car? I said, we're in a dead, get out of my, I thought he'd put me on. So I got out of the car, and whoo, we whipped away. I figured he'll be back in the company. I said, okay, good joke, buddy. Now, 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes, and the brush in the desert flies around. Every time it hit me, I would jump in the air. I thought it was a snake. For about an hour, I was out there in the desert by myself waiting for the bus, hoping they were on the same road, but they were going 15 miles an hour. But, Buddy and I were always threatening to fight each other. He thought I was a boxer when I was a young kid. He actually studied judo. And so when I got there, I was going to
The bus picked you up? You did get picked up?
Yeah, 2 hours later, after having a nervous breakdown of jumping in the air, every time the brush would curl around and fly in the desert, and it would hit you, and you don't know what the hell it was. You can't see.
I had heard this story for years and finally found out that it was true. I hope you enjoyed the Lombardi Live Spotlight shows as much as we do putting them together for you. The challenge is choosing what stories to spotlight out of hundreds of hours of lessons and shows on drumchannel.com. I'll be back next week with a full-length interview and look forward to seeing you then. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter @DrumChannel.